Right. And we are live. Yes, correct. Okay. All right. We are live. And yeah, just remove. All right. Okay. Sorry, guys. We're just playing with tech because that's what I love doing. And we're just adding in some extra channels here, some extra streams. And we are on there. Okay.
We are live. Technology.
Technology. Gotta love it, right? Yeah. I'm supposed to one that loves technology. It's great when it's working. So here we are on a day when
Moody Friday.
Moody Fridays, Freedom Friday, and I think the weather is exercising a bit of freedom itself right now.
Yeah.
We're in for a big weekend, weather-wise. Maybe we're in for a big weekend from a global perspective. I get a feeling from a global perspective that something's going to happen, Adrian.
Yep, it's something brewing.
Something's brewing. That's perfect. I think brewing is the term to use. Yeah. But as we kicked off the beginning of this week, it was all about there being upside in the downtime.
Yeah.
And, if we look at the weather metaphorically, there's about to be some downtime in the weather where it's going to kind of vent, empty out, clear a few clouds.
I think there's 100 mil of rain coming, Tommy, for us in the next few days.
There's a lot of rain coming. Yeah. I think there's a bit of wind coming as well over the next few days.
Yeah.
So it's a change.
Yep, and change is wonderful. I love it.
Crazy people like us
love it. We love change.
Yep, we do.
There's some that just cling on to the old and don't like change.
Yep.
But if you don't go with that flow of change and you get into that atrophied state, that can be really unhealthy, can it?
Great point.
Because we need movement to stop atrophy.
Great
Otherwise
point.
we just get stuck.
If you don't use it, you lose it.
Got to be movement.
And as we've said many times as well, that life is this sort of oscillation. It's the only way you get best performance.
Yep.
Right, whether it's in the space at work and in your job, or as a professional sportsman or as a corporate athlete.
Yep.
Right, corporate athlete, the professional athlete, corporate athlete, both of them. You've got to be able to do
or part-time athlete,
part-time professional athlete, or part-time corporate athlete. Right. So with that. Uptime, downtime, sun, rain.
Yeah.
How does that apply when you're looking therefore at, we kind of get maybe a little bit of a clue here, but getting the best from a corporate leadership point of view, and what we're all about with Corporate Alchemist Project, which is the alchemy of bringing soul into business.
Yeah, and Tommy, is a lot of time it's about claiming the space to take time out, because there's so much pressure in the work to keep performing, to keep the ego running, that I'm better than, I'm more superior than, I'm busier than, I'm going to get more KPIs in than.
I've got to get that.
And there's this constant drive, and if we don't put the brakes on consciously and consciously choose to take some time out, that's when things start to get ugly. That's when things start to fall apart. That's when accidents start to happen, because there's less focus, less attention, less consciousness. And I know if I get tired, it's when I'll stub my toe or bang my hand or something go right, or I'll miss an important meeting, or I'll just fall asleep and then miss an appointment or something, because I've pushed and I've pushed and I've pushed and I've pushed to breaking point. And this is common. I mean, you've seen it, Tommy, with your own eyes, with friends, with colleagues. I've seen it with friends and colleagues.
I think we've seen it with ourselves to a degree too.
I've pushed.
It hasn't been fatal yet.
I've pushed. I'm learning to push less as I get older and wiser, which is great.
Yeah.
And I think this is the key. Maybe in your 30s and 40s you can push a bit more, but when you start getting into the 50s and the 60s, the body can't be quite as pushed. The mind can't be quite as pushed. It does require a bit more downtime.
Yeah.
Just to recover.
Well, I mean, if we look at, and the reason we tend to age is partly the way that we're thinking about things, interpreting the world, but also, it could be toxic thoughts. We also have a toxic load that's built up just through the way the environment has changed. I mean, was it 50,000 more chemicals or something like that since the Second World War that were approved? Our bodies are carrying like a lot of metals, a lot of toxic load that's been created. So you get all that. And that's what, if you can reverse that and then start doing things that are specific for you, which we now have the science to be able to do, what's the right eating, moving, and sleeping for me, then yeah. But let's say those things being equal, this oscillation, and the upside and the downtime, everything's down there, nothing's happening. I'm not pushing it. I'm not working hard. I'm
taking time.
Right. How dare you take time? Right. I mean, and look, it's in us now where we've been so conditioned and programmed that we feel guilty about doing that. Yet, as part of the getting that performance continuing to increase, whether it's you're in sport where it's known, right, and chronic fatigue syndrome and so on, or in the corporate world, it tends to be because we really do a lot of toxic things to our body. It could be a heart attack, it could be cancer, it could
common,
be,
and they're common.
Right, they're common. It's number 1 and 2 killer on the planet, not some form of a virus, or whatever that may be.
It's not a conspiracy theory.
It's not a conspiracy theory, no, it's not alternative thinking.
No. It's actually real stats that will tell you if you carry on and continue to do that pressure job for so long, there will be a point of collapse. Either physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, mental breakdown, mental fatigue.
Right.
Thyroid issues. Because we're not doing the right thing. From an energetic perspective.
Hyperactive thyroid.
That's common.
Right. Well, keeping the
diabetes common.
Well, right. And diabetes is actually connected to those top killers.
Totally.
Right. Totally. Which then connects to sugar, which killed more people than the First and Second World War added together. And when I bring clients into the physiological program. I'm saying, well, Formula 1 race car. You keep the pedal to the metal, chances are you're going to put it into a corner somewhere, or you're going to blow an engine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So here we are with the downtime when a lot of great stuff happens. And we spoke about that at the beginning of the week physiologically, with a bit of brain stuff. But then as we move to the mind, the emotional, mental, spiritual side, what does it mean? And then what's the good stuff you can do there?
Tommy, it's so important to rest the mind. I say to people, learn to have that off switch. Just to stop those chattering monkeys for even if it's 10 or 15 minutes a day, twice a day, just to give it a rest, just to feel like you're a human being rather than a human doing.
Right.
And just stop that constant noise.
Yeah.
It's like this helicopter going over now. It's like constant, chopper. That's exhausting.
Yeah.
Absolutely exhausting for the, if that continuous synapses of the brains are going snap. It's like, it's a continual electric shock almost in the brain, and at some point something has to burn. The brain is going to fry. The mind is going to
blow the engine.
Going to blow the engine.
Right.
So it's so important. And coming back to your sleep, what happens in sleep from a spiritual perspective, study cases on this, is when we sleep, we remain, there physically on the bed. You're on the bed when you've had a good sleep. And then what we call that energy field, or the etheric body, or the chi energy, that's when it goes to work.
Right.
That's when it goes, okay, it's repair time.
Yeah.
And it starts to repair all the body, as physically as it can, as mentally as it can, on the psyche as well. And what happens is all the nervous system in our body and all the desires in our body in terms of that soul space, that separates from the physical body.
Right.
It actually goes, if you like, into the spiritual world, with our I presence, with our the choice maker within me.
Right.
It has a bit of a rest on the physical plane, but it gets busy on the spiritual plane.
Yeah, right.
But it doesn't get tired because there's no tiredness in the spiritual world as such.
Right. Yeah.
Just is.
Right.
It's just like continual momentum of energy. But when we come back down to the 3D realm, if we don't separate ourselves from that spiritual and energy body, and we keep that alive, we get exhausted.
Right.
And what keeps that locked in to the body where it doesn't separate is things like watching TV before one goes to bed, eating the wrong foods before we go to bed, because the body's still digesting in the soul perspective.
Yeah, you want to give 3 hours or so at least. Booze as well.
Yeah, no booze, because booze actually keeps you locked into your body. It doesn't separate. Separates the mind a bit, but it doesn't separate the energy field.
Right.
And people wake up exhausted, Tommy.
Yeah. Well, it's a toxin. Alcohol is a toxin. By the way.
Food toxin, alcohol toxin. If you watch a horror movie before you go to sleep and try to go to bed, your body, the soul body won't separate as much.
Interesting.
Because it's still connected into here.
Yeah.
In the damaging space.
Right.
Because if you like, the astral, we're going to call it the astral soul body, does the damage. It's the one that wears us down and makes us old and tired and worn out. and the energy field, the etheric body, is the restorer.
Right.
So those two are at battle continually.
Right.
So if we don't give the space to the healer, by removing one, nothing gets healed.
Yeah.
And usually, and a lot of professions, nursing and care, 3 years burnout. That's the average. People get to 3 years in those industries and they start to deteriorate really quickly.
Jeez.
Yeah, because mental fatigue, physical fatigue,
right,
burnout.
There it is.
There's lots of medical names for it.
Right.
And about 3 years, because it takes about 3 years for us to burn up that storage of energy.
Right.
Some people sooner, some a bit longer, but on average, in the caring modalities, and if you're in the corporate space and you've got a team, and you're not restoring, 3-year burnout, something will happen. You can almost pinpoint that something will snap, break, give up.
Well, it becomes so addictive, right? I mean, for me, and because I know my genetic makeup, dopamine's an achievement things, get things done. Yeah, let's get it done. The human doing, right? And the corporate world has been very much driven that way, right? Where it's like humans are expendables.
Yep.
And I think now they're starting to wake up. And I think with the leadership and the new leadership that is working this out or has worked it out, we need more of them that are saying, you know what, it's not great to push my team that hard. I mean, I would have some of my team working their butts off on the weekend, and they're emailing and stuff. And, I learned over the years, and no emails on weekends, that's it.
I'm out.
Time out.
Can wait.
We're doing enough Monday to Friday, and my guys, and I would let them know, you're not expected to be doing this on the weekend, or I'd see someone that's really been pushing it, and I'll call them into the office and have a coffee or whatever and say, how are things going? So you're really pushing it. You don't have to go this hard, which was uncharacteristic.
Yeah.
Because the whole system is like, let's get as much as we can out of this.
We're not going to outsource. I can do it.
I can do it. You can do it. They can do it. I've seen that from leaders that I had to report up through.
Is that competition? Is that drive?
Competition, drive, fear. Is what there's that hunger in the 3D world for materialism and getting another dopamine buzz and the ego and whatever, but also the fear of failure. Right.
And you mix those two.
Right. You mix those two.
You've got
It's explosive energy, but like you've said, the three economies are time, energy, and money. Right. I think time, human construct. Money, human construct. Money's so damn cheap right now that they just print it. And everybody's good as long as you get access to it. But then they'll sign a contract on you, say, well, you owe this. Right. And currently at a very low interest rate. So energy is, I think, the one that learning to manage energy, and this is kind of the space that you play in from a non-physiological point of view. How to look after that crucible, for an emotional, mental, spiritual point of view, for great performance.
And I say a lot of that, Tommy, comes back to some of the keys we talk about all the time is contemplation, meditation, prayer, call it what you like.
Right.
But that quiet, reflective inner time where one is meditating, one is stilling the body, stilling the mind.
Right.
And that's, meditation, contemplation, prayer. For me, it's all the same, different language. But it's about stilling and being still and being quiet in that space and being open to connecting to that source of energy.
Right.
Because there's an abundance of energy up there. And on the planet too. The earth is an abundance of energy. If you go and stand barefooted on the grass or go and, lay down in the bush, see the energy of that, go and sit under a tree, go and breathe in some oxygen in the bush. Right. Go and sit in the park. If you live in the city, go and sit in the middle of the park. Right. Around that greenery, get some of that beautiful energy. The trees are giving us
it's real
carbon monoxide all the time. Right. All we have to do is breathe it in, and we breathe out the oxygen. We have this symbiotic nature with trees, where they breathe out and we breathe out, and we actually feed each other.
Right.
And that's a beautiful synergy to tune into.
To keep that balance as well, right? Otherwise we end up killing ourselves like we've been doing.
Deforestation is killing us.
Yeah, we're putting things out of balance.
Because we haven't got anything to feed on, because we feed on carbon monoxide and then
there's carbon dioxide and oxygen.
Oxygen. Right. And then we give the oxygen back to the trees, and then
we've got a lot of carbon monoxide coming out of those things down there.
Oh yeah, we have.
So okay, then and we can go into like quantum physics and so on here, right? With Nassim
Haramein, yeah.
Right? And he talks about this thing called the torus, and I was okay at physics at school. It was my favorite subject. And the way it's sort of the energy spirals up and then it comes down, spiraling down the outside, and then it sort of whirls up again. And then it's sort of like doing this. And that concept, and it starts to bend your mind a bit. But when you start to grapple some of these things, you start to understand how this all works. So what do you draw from? How do you draw from those sorts of learnings in a sort of a Cliff Notes version to be able to use that energy, and how does the downtime kind of fit into this?
So one is diarise it, Tommy, for me. Right. Like put your time out in your diary.
Right.
Like get really clear, block it out, big red line to the diary. Me time. Good old me time. How dare you have me time? Yep. And that's a real struggle. I have a lot of clients. I say, get your diary right now. Pick one day, one afternoon, 1 hour in that afternoon, and write me in it. I phone them a week later and say, how'd you go? And they go, just didn't do it.
Yeah, right.
Didn't do it. And I say, what's going on?
Yeah, right.
Self-love, self-care.
Self-care.
Yeah, it's really hard. But, when that habit has been set, not to care for oneself, not to, go and put your feet up and read a book, or go and run a hot bath, or go for a walk in nature, whatever it is, it's really hard work. It doesn't matter who I talk to, it's hard work.
So what happened?
Yeah.
What the happened?
Yeah.
How did we end up here?
We got caught in the work trap.
We were caught in the work trap.
Yep. They're like, you got to be busy, got to be busy, got to be busy, got to be busy, got to be busy.
And we could link a whole lot of conspiracy theories to this too, right?
Totally.
Sorry, alternative thinking.
It wouldn't be you or I, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be me. No, never.
But I want to get clear on that as well, Tommy.
Yeah.
This whole idea now that if you think outside the box, you're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah.
Alternative thinking from what we call the mainstream is become like you are persecuted. You're judged to. Oh no. This is the way it works. So, well, how do you know this? And then being careful with some egos, you're not even allowed to ask the questions.
Yeah. That's the challenge you will know,
right?
So you imagine now, Tommy, coming back to your question of how do we work with this in the workplace, in the corporate space?
Yeah.
If you're a leader and you want to bring this in, it's maybe going to be a challenge.
Right.
Because suddenly you're going to walk in on a Monday morning and say, right,
January 2nd.
We've met these couple of cats called Tommy and Adrian, and I've watched the videos in their new video series. Because I've purchased it for Christmas. And a bit of a plug there.
That's right.
And now what I'm going to do with my team here on a Monday morning for 15 minutes before we get going, for those that want to, we're going to come into work, 10 minutes early, 15 minutes early. And you're going to give me 10 minutes of your time. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. With 20 minutes, we're going to sit down. We're going to contemplate, meditate as a group. And we're going to pull in a frequency. We're going to pull in an energy. We're going to create a new vortex of energy. And we're all going to tune into that for the week.
Right.
How are you going? How's your energy?
Right.
Are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? And we're going to do a check-in.
You're moving well.
You
are what you sleep.
Team check-ins. They're amazing. I mean, footy players do it. During the week. It's not just turning up on a Saturday and training. It's like, how you going? They buddy up. They have buddy systems.
Right.
And because at the end of the day, what it is, it's about accountability for self.
Yeah.
Can I be accountable to me to eat well, sleep well, move well, meditate well, pray well, all the other aspects of life.
But then you're going to have to change beliefs, right? Because people have got to believe that this is going to work for them. And some of them are scared of taking that leap because, then I'm not producing, I'm not doing. Therefore, that means nothing is happening, right? Versus an investment into the future. They have to believe that this is actually going to give them better performance.
So we have to find the trust is one.
Right.
So there's going to be some edge around that. One's going to have to try it to earn the trust with the team.
Right.
So there's going to be a risk. If you're going to get risk takers in leadership, you get those less risk takers. But there is a risk in the potential, in the thought realm, that this is not going to work. Right. I mean, it will work, guaranteed, because thousands of years of science and spirit have said that meditation does work.
Right.
Actually, I was responding, Tommy, to something last week on social media, and it was from a psychologist.
Right.
Who was saying that mindfulness only works for some people, right?
Right.
And he was he put forward this idea of why, and I got into the conversation and I said, perhaps it's not a question of whether mindful works for people or not, and whether it's particularly works for certain people. Maybe it's not the mindfulness that needs discussing here. What needs to be discussed here is the idea that people are committed. Because if there's a commitment to do the mindfulness, they would get results.
Right.
So the whole premise that he was putting forward, that mindfulness is okay for some and others, I disagreed with.
Yeah.
And the premise of the idea that I put forward was, let's put the mindfulness aside and let's go back to those people and say, were you committed to mindfulness?
Right.
I think there lies the answer.
Right, he's saying they're trying it, it's not giving any results, therefore it doesn't work.
Yeah. So my argument around that,
they're not doing it right.
test around that would be, if it was done correctly,
right,
with conviction, with commitment, with
consistency,
with the right teacher, it would work.
Right.
So his whole premise around it, I disagree with from the beginning.
Right.
Because he didn't have a real strong premise to work from.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. We had a bit of a debate around. There was others chiming in and going, "Yeah, I had the experience. I tried meditating once and it didn't work."
Yeah. Right. Once.
And there lies my argument.
Yeah.
Commitment. Yeah. Getting the right teacher, getting the right platform. Because I know from experience and speaking to everybody as a committed to meditation.
Yeah.
I'm not talking just a day or a week, but a lifetime commitment.
Yeah. Yeah.
After 5 or 10 years, it drops in and works.
Yeah.
For some people, it drops in a week, but at some point, it will drop in.
Well, I mean, look, it's been around for thousands of years, right? It's an Eastern medicine stuff. It's not something you take, right? That's a recent occurrence.
Yeah.
The last 100 years. And that was a big money-making thing. Well, there's just too much money driving a lot of things, right? It's like, don't care about people, just chase the money.
Teach you to meditate like a monk in a weekend, long as you take my $2,000 drug.
Right. Well, keep them alive long enough to keep paying the bill.
Yeah.
Right, as well. So, but it's been around for thousands of years. And then you look at McKinsey's, one of the very highly respected, let's say, and Boston Consulting and so on. Those high-end consulting, big thinking, smart people organizations, and I've worked with a few of these organizations in the past, very talented, smart people. Years ago, they brought in this whole meditation practice, right? Churchill, Second World War, still had his little kip in the afternoon. What do you know? Did stress kill this guy? What killed him in the end? I mean, he was cigaring and drinking whiskey up until into the 90s, right? His 90s. Yeah. So what else is going on? And this is where it connects with stress as well, because I know a lot of the stuff that I read, they tend to, maybe because it's one of two things and they went divide by 2, 50% either way, but the number here is 50%. And from toxic thoughts and thinking that drive certain emotions and so on, that is killing us. Yeah. And even more now because there's so much more stress.
Toxic
thoughts, right? Yeah. Let alone the environmental impact. Yeah. But that one's a bigger, and I think only now is starting to wake up and go, well, holy cow, people understand if you keep the pedal to the metal in a Formula 1 race car, high performance vehicle, you will blow an engine. Yep, it's going to burn. You will not last for the race. Yep. So then why not take that metaphor and actually embody it into your daily work practice? Because
it's damn hard, that's why.
Well, it is hard.
It's really hard because everything in our society is pushing against that.
The whole train. Get things done. Stuff's coming at you.
Rush. No.
Stuff is coming at
you. I mean, people wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. Tommy. TV goes on and it's like the news is on.
Program.
Good morning Australia, whatever. I don't watch it.
It's funny how they call the programs, by the way.
Yeah. But and people get straight away. The brain is locked into something rather than taking 10 minutes out to meditate. So the thing for me would be, if you're getting up in the morning, don't put on the radio, don't put on the television. Go for a nice walk in nature or sit and meditate, go for a run on the beach, connect with a higher form of energy. Because if you're getting blasted with messages, usually negative, we know television is usually negative. There's not much positivity in television.
Yeah, maybe listen to some reputable service like CNN.
Yeah, perhaps. That's features on you. And
sarcastic.
Yeah. And if we get into that space straight away, that's a change, but that's really hard.
Right.
Because we're so conditioned into the old paradigm of tuning into a negative energy.
Look, I think if you're a leader today, and you're stuck in that old paradigm. It's getting to the point now where there's enough information out there that's coming at you on this sort of stuff. Here's one example. It's us talking about it right now. But then it's pretty well freaking lazy.
Yeah, it's lazy. Yeah,
and then it's just laziness.
And fear, bit of fear.
Bit of fear to break out of the norm.
Because people love habits, people love continuity, people love to be in the same space because it's safe.
The treadmill.
It's pretty safe.
Yeah.
I know what's going to happen.
Right.
You know.
This is the way it's always happened.
It's always
Nothing's
happened.
changing.
I go on my carousel and I wave at the same people and it's safe.
Right.
But as soon as we get off that carousel,
right,
we have to do that, sort of mind reset.
Or someone breaks the carousel.
Also breaks the carousel.
Tell me that didn't happen in 2020.
Yeah.
They broke the carousel, the treadmill of life.
Some people.
Oh my God, what do we do now?
Some people put a new one.
Yep.
Yeah, with a new model, in a sustainable way.
What, Zoom?
Yeah. And other people fell apart from it, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually.
Right.
And really, really didn't survive.
Right.
And still aren't surviving. They're struggling. And others took this opportunity and went, wow, I'm going to, create a new carousel.
Yeah.
Put the old one aside, recycle it.
Yeah.
And create something new is what you and I've done in the last 10 months. We've created this new paradigm with CAP.
Right.
To help and support people to go, if we don't wake up from that old dream and we stay in it,
it's kind of boring.
Yes, bit
same
flat,
dream.
Same.
Yeah.
But in that space, Tommy, are those the dreams that people having been fulfilled, and have they got the right dream is a question.
Right.
Because if the dream is, I want to get sick and make lots of money.
Yeah.
What a terrible dream. Now, if I want to stay healthy and make lots of money, great.
In fact,
fantastic dream.
Maybe there's a smarter way to make more money by taking some time out.
I think.
That's the contra. What would you call it? That inverse relationship almost.
Yeah. It is. But we know when one takes that time out, everything else improves in life. I know if I don't take time out for me, if I don't meditate, if I don't contemplate, if I don't do my creative time, and I get on that hamster wheel, it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
I'm on edge and I'm grumpy and I'm like, it's
Well, I mean, I was so used to, and I'm sure leaders out there, it's still in the corporate world, that you would hustle and grind through. You're switching off feelings, or you're ignoring them, right?
Ignoring the warning signs.
What's that?
Ignoring the warning signs.
The warning signs. And these are warning signs.
It's like rattling the engine, turn the radio off.
Right.
I'm not listening.
And you're pushing. It's like a bit of pain. No pain, no gain.
Yeah.
Or you're soft. You get a bit of ego manipulation, peer group pressure, somebody doing it different. And I started to learn that was stupid.
Yeah.
It was not the smartest way.
No. So I meet people and they say to me, "Oh, come and meet Bob. He's a really intelligent bloke."
Right.
And I look at Bob and he's 40 kilos overweight.
Yeah. That's a pretty good intelligent thing to begin with.
He's had a few whiskeys and I've only met him for 10 minutes.
Right.
And then he goes out on the veranda for a smoke.
Right.
And I'm told this is an intelligent bloke, and I go, something doesn't compute in Adrian's head.
Right. Yeah.
Like he might be able to do programming and that's smart. That's a learned,
or he's leading
skill.
by fear.
That's a skill, but that's not intelligent.
Right.
Having a skill and being intelligent are two totally different things.
Yeah.
So you might be a skillful operator,
right,
and you might have some intelligence how to do it.
Yeah.
But in terms of human intelligence, the alarm bells go off when I hear people say, I go,
right,
okay, so let's have some context around intelligence here, because what I'm seeing is that's not an intelligent man, because probably in about 3 years' time he's going to be in hospital, having some lap band surgery or something, because he's totally overweight, or he's going to get cancer because he's smoking, or lose his liver because he's drinking. So where's the intelligence in that? And yet people are still labeled intelligent.
Right.
So I think we need to get clear always on our languaging around people and challenging people on what that means, and saying, if you're intelligent, why aren't you meditating? Why aren't you eating organic food? Why aren't you staying healthy?
Look, I think some people have excelled at using the intelligence of the left part of their brain.
Yeah.
And you and I both know the right side, where there is creativity and there's more freedom, expression, and so on side, and then connecting to the heart, RQ, right, relationship quotient, SQ, emotional quotient, as it's been with Daniel Goleman, right, spiritual quotient, right,
and quantum
Quantum quotient.
QQ.
Oh my God, this sounded like a QAnon thing.
Yeah.
I'll
mention Q.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh my God, another conspiracy theory. That's where the smart money is, and how often we've said, well, the corporate world's getting ripped off. Why? Because they haven't been smart enough to work out yet, using the whole brain, right, and the heart. These extra resources that have not come into and manifested in part of the high performance, peak performance, sustaining way to be in the world in general, but specifically in the corporate world.
It's like having a supercomputer in the cupboard in the office and not using it, isn't it?
So the corporate world's getting ripped off. You're getting, if you want to use the old vernacular, so much more out of your people. Well, the way to do that is to give so much more to your people, and that give them some time, give them a purpose that they buy into, and that they see as real and not just driven by dollar. Is driven, especially the millennials today and younger. You're going to lose them if you cannot deliver on this, and you won't get the best out of them unless they're, why am I here? What am I going to do here? And how good is this for the world? I mean, these are the people that, as I do, middle-aged millennial, right? Read the back of the packets of food, not the front one with all the marketing crap and hype, the back. And even then, you got to wonder. You got to get your fact checker.
Oh, yeah.
And then your fact checker of the fact checker to see where they're getting funded, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, follow the money.
I was waiting for that one to come in.
Sorry. I read an article today. In fact, there's some discoveries being made right now around that very issue. So, that means there's got to be some effort of a new way to think.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're going to find that new space in the downtime.
That's it.
Because one's got to give oneself time to think and to be and to contemplate and to create. And it cannot do that when you're busy.
You got to come out of that field of battle.
Yeah.
Right? Come out of the trench.
Yeah.
Right? And out of the fight.
Yeah.
And meditation allows you to do that.
Totally,
this morning, I managed to, I think the little crystal in my pineal gland connected a little bit to the source, as you call it. I was tuning into some stuff that I hadn't thought of before. I thought, oh, that's brilliant, right? Even if I do say so myself. What a great idea. Said my ego.
Yep.
Of course, my ego thought of it. Well, really?
Yeah.
Maybe it comes somewhere else. But anyway, who cares?
Yeah.
The thing is, all the noise cleared. And then all of a sudden, these great things started to come in.
Yeah. And they do. And once we start to work on that creative space, and open up to that, it's amazing what can be created.
Right.
And I think in the business space for 2021, to create that new paradigm going forward, create the vision, create the team, create the purpose, create the space, create a sense of beingness. Rather than the hustle and grind.
Right, the beingness.
The beingness. And just find that place of ease and flow. This is, and I know it's like woo-woo language to some degree.
It'll scare some people.
But if you don't go there, and you've got, say, 30 people in your team, and you start on January the 1st, you can guarantee by the end of the year, a percentage of those people are going to get burned out, fried out in their minds, their bodies, their brains, spiritually, physically, emotionally, spiritually. They're going to get burnt on some level.
Or they'll leave.
Which is a burnout for the team.
It is. But you get another one and train them up.
But to nurture a team to go forward in good health, good well-being in terms of food, eat well, sleep well, rest well, meditate well, communicate well, share feelings, getting into that new paradigm. I know it's hard. I know it's really going to
takes effort.
Effort, risk.
Well, it takes risk.
Skill.
Especially right now.
Take some skill.
Right. Or maybe lesser now than it ever has been,
but,
actually.
Tommy, the beautiful part of this is there's so much resource right now to support it. There is human resource like you and I. There's downloadable resource.
The internet.
Internet.
No excuse not to have the information.
There's no excuse. There are meditation. I mean, my good friend and teacher, Ian Gawler, who I work with for several years. Victoria runs the cancer retreat centres. Amazing human being. He's actually got an app that he's put out called Activate.
Oh, okay.
And it's got about 6 or 7 different meditations. And that's not, there's others too. So it's no excuse not to learn to meditate. A friend of mine, Bob Sharples, who used to work with me at the Gawler Foundation,
Right.
beautiful meditation teacher, mostly Buddhist meditation. And he wrote a book on meditation and was explaining all the different theories around meditation. He said, my next book is going to be very simple. It's going to be one page. He's going to say, sit, close eyes, relax. So it's not, it's not rocket
New York
science.
bestseller.
It's not rocket science to sit and, take time out, meditate, and be still.
Yeah.
All you got to do is breathe and follow the breath.
Yeah.
Breathe and follow the breath.
Yeah.
Breathe and follow the breath. It's a great way to start. Then you can get more technical.
Right.
And start swinging from chandeliers and being upside down and whatever.
Right.
Buddhist monks do. But the beginning is take a breath, close your eyes, and breathe, and just follow the breath.
Follow the breath.
It's not hard.
It's biomechanical.
But what is hard is the commitment and the will to do it.
Right.
That's the challenge.
Right.
Coming back to that debate we're having online, it's not so much mindfulness doesn't work. What's not working is the commitment people have to do the mindfulness.
Maybe we should call it mindlessness.
Yeah, mindlessness. Yeah.
Right.
Well, there is a meditation called empty mind.
Empty mind, right?
Yeah. It's an actual process of,
Just
rather
get rid
than
of the
mind
clutter.
full,
Yeah.
it's called empty mind meditation.
Right.
And that's a really challenging place to get to.
Right.
When there's actually, you're not thinking about the thinking.
God. Right. Okay.
Totally letting go.
Wow. Not thinking about the thinking.
It's mostly when we're meditating,
Yeah.
we are thinking about not thinking.
Thinking about not thinking. Ha.
Yeah.
Is that where I'm going wrong?
But yeah, and that is a standard. 99.9% of meditation is we are thinking about relaxing.
Right.
So we're still not fully relaxing
Right.
the
Because
mind.
now you're thinking about
Relaxing the body, yeah.
Relax.
We are.
Gotta relax. Are you
Follow
relaxing yet?
Well,
My God, what's
mostly
going on
I'm saying to myself, follow my breath, follow my breath, follow my breath.
there? Right.
So
Focus
I'm
on
not
one thing.
disengaged fully to totally be empty mind,
Right.
but to go to that, what we call the silent, empty, meditative space. For most, takes years of practice. For some, can get it quite quickly. Some of the new millennials coming through are
Right.
dropping in pretty quickly.
Right.
A lot of theories around why, we won't go there today, but
Right.
for the ordinarily doing meditation practice,
Yep.
it does take several years to drop into that absolute, well, let's call it the bliss space or the empty space,
Right.
where we're not thinking about the thinking.
Wow.
I've been meditating for over 20 years, and when I hit that sweet spot, it doesn't happen all the time because it's really hard to turn it off.
Yeah.
It takes serious practice.
It's an art. You've
Yeah.
got to kind of
It's a
like go
practice.
to the Star Wars school of becoming a Jedi Knight.
Yep.
Using the Force.
Yeah, got to use the force.
Got to use the Force, right? And there was a lost art.
Yeah.
We need to, and there's a lot of things been lost in history on this stuff. I wonder how and why.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway, let's not go down the conspiracy theory again. But learning to do nothing takes some learning and practice.
Yeah.
We've been so programmed, hooked, and our anatomy has adapted to being in that mode. To unwind that stuff, when you've been doing like I did for nearly 3 decades, and I can still feel all those biochemical drivers and motivations to get out there and do.
It's a real challenge to me. I was presenting at the Australian New Zealand addiction conference on Wednesday here in Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And I had a group of people in the room, and I was talking about the 2 aspects of helping to get over addictions.
Right.
And we can bring this into this conversation in terms of the habits we've learned,
Yeah.
which to some degree have become addictive. They're addictive habits.
Right.
We do the same thing every day. It's pretty
Right.
addictive.
Yeah.
And I spoke, there's 2 aspects. One is to learn to be still, and stilling to help
Like,
cure
where am I
addiction.
right now?
Yeah, and be still. And the other is to cure it through movement.
Right.
And it's finding out, what habits need movement to change and which habits need stillness to change.
Right.
And in terms of this habit we're trying to change, which is bringing in a new paradigm in business, it's going to need both. You need movement in terms of momentum, but you need the stillness within that to guide it.
Right.
You need to guide the movement through stillness. So it's a bit of a paradox, but it's a harder one to get mind around. But if I'm still in my being, I can allow that momentum in the business to keep going because I've got a stillness in it. I'm not rushing it. I'm not charging at it.
Right.
So there's a natural momentum.
Right.
Yeah, natural flow, like the torus field.
Yeah.
It breathes in and it breathes out.
There is energy
It breathes
happening.
in,
Manage
and it
the
breathes
force.
out. Yeah,
Luke.
manage the force. Yeah.
Manage the force that's already there.
And we breathe in and we breathe out.
Right.
We breathe in and we breathe out. And if we do that in our business, in our team, in our beingness, and we learn to do that, from a physiological, psychological, and spiritualogical perspective, and we get that right in all three, then there cannot not be change. It's got to happen.
There it is. And so, how can people get some help in learning how to do this, Adrian?
Well,
that wasn't a loaded question.
Can find me directly on Adrian Hanks on all social media.
He reads my mind. See that?
Yeah, LinkedIn, Facebook, website, Adrian Hanks. And if you want to have a strategy session with me, book in for a 15-minute strategy session. Where am I right now, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all those other aspects of life that I'll share with you. So nice and easy. And if you're on the Goldie, come and catch up.
There we go.
And Tommy G, Mr. Biotech
Exec. Well, you can go to, it's like steak knives at www.biotechexec.net, where I have my program kind of laid out there. You can fill out an executive lifestyle assessment, right? And from there, that will entitle you to, it'll send me an email, of course. It'll send you some information on how you rate it versus others in the executive world, but entitle you to like 30 minutes of a free health optimization, peak performance, sustainability strategy session. And where can they find us, Adrian?
Well, they can find us on LinkedIn.
They can.
On the group.
On the group.
If they want to get in the door. Or
the secret group.
Or on the page. The page is for everybody.
Right.
And the group is for those that want to come in and get a bit more engaged, a bit more involved in what we're doing, get a bit more information, so you can knock on the door and come and join the club. That's for male business exec space for people to come in there. And it's a great opportunity to...
This would be the Corporate Alchemist Project group.
Yes.
Yeah. And the Corporate Alchemist Project page.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And in that space, you'll get to hear about things a bit earlier. For instance, you'll get special offers on things we're offering and get first opportunities to jump onto things like our new video series.
Oh, I'm glad you dropped that one in there.
That
Adrian.
will be released next week. All things going well in the next 72 hours.
It's cutting, we're completing stuff today.
Yeah. We're at that cutting edge point
in time for Christmas.
Pulling everything together.
To give it to Santa in his digital Santa bag.
And that will be available. So look out for that one. That'll be flashed across your screen. So Tommy G, I think we're wrapped.
I think we are wrapped.
We are
late. My dear. We're 10 minutes late to work with our cameraman. All right. Our cameraman called Cam.
All right.
I think it's a wrap. Thank you, Mr. Hanks. We'll see you guys just before Christmas. Bye. No. Touch screen? I don't think so.
That was my old one.